Getting rolling. I call this meeting, board review to order. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we're gonna do a roll call. Matt,
Melanie Jester, brother.
Chair, Scott Anstey, present.
Frank Theodore, president.
So we do have a quorum of 3 board members for board of review. Next is election of chairperson and vice chair. So I guess I'll let you guys nominate one for chair and vice chair.
Nominate Scott Hansky as the chair.
So there's a motion and a second for Scott Hanson to be the chair. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Next we have vice chair.
Nominate Matt as vice chair. I'll nominate Matt as vice chair.
I'll second that. So we have a motion and a second for Matt to be vice chair. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, next we have statement and verification by village clerk.
Open book notices and board of review notices have been published according to state statute. Frank Field has completed his board of review training for this year. So everything has been certified and published according to statute.
Okay, next up, we have correction and approval of the previous meeting minutes. You had got those in the email. For a motion and a second for the meeting minutes from July 10th, 2025.
Motion to approve minutes from June 10th, 2025. Second.
So we had a motion by trustee Lancaster and a second by trustee Field. To approve the minutes. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have report of prior year's omission in chargebacks.
I am not aware of any. There, yes, for you.
There was one correction of error, and then it relates to an omission, which was, to my understanding, like a tower that was placed on the wrong parcel, so it got moved to the other parcel that it should have been on. But those documents will be included in the roll.
Thank you. Next, we have presentation and filing of assessment rule.
Alright. Number one, the roll is right here, and this is up to you when you want to do it. The oath and the affidavit both need to be signed, generally with the clerk. This is a market update year. I do normally kind of read a little summary sheet if the board's okay with that. So why don't I give you guys, if you'd like. Sorry, I'm gonna pull it a little bit.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm. So for this year, we completed our field work on May 29th. That's generally checking on any physical items that we need to generally as a function of permits, whether they're new or incompleted from the prior year, sales, sale verification, things of that nature. June 11th, we did a real estate review, completed that, normally final values. Then on June 16th, notices were mailed. The first day of open book was July 8th. Any changes that were done between July 8th and the 14th received a new open book notice mailer on July 14th. Those got mailed, and obviously today then the board of review. During our visits, we visited 214 parcels. We reviewed 401 parcels for permits. We reviewed 482 sales from 2024. Generally, we're doing that on a monthly basis, so that's just a 2024 summary of sales. 281 residential sales were usable within our analysis. Again, generally, we might be not using ones that were deemed invalid for one nature, whether it was not marketed publicly, might have been between known parties, things of that nature. We held 99 open book appointments. Those were pre-scheduled appointments. On top of that, we talked to other residents outside of appointments, which included 567 touch points for residential property owners and 42 commercial property owners. That's a summary for the year. I do also have, I thought I had printed out. And the board can have the average residential increase for this year was 56.41%. The average change for commercial was 54.4%. Community overall average change was 56%. On the top of the summary, though, I added a lot more information because we did have certain areas that would have seen different increases. And I try to put those notes in there, like different neighborhoods. NE would be our shorthand for neighborhood. Certain neighborhoods saw increases of about 100%, and that's going to be primarily due to water or water frontage. Different neighborhoods, again, might have seen some outside that average increase, again, depending on what we were seeing within our analysis for those neighborhoods. I try to kind of target it on the sheet for the board.
So is that part of your, this is your annual report, which is agenda item number 9?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, keep in mind the last market update for the village of Harrison was 2019. So the village was out of compliance with the state. You generally can be within 10% plus or minus the state's numbers. So once you hit that out of compliance, you have a certain amount of time to get back into compliance. So it was a mandatory practice this year to do the market update.
Question on the waterfront.
Sure.
Obviously, sales go into that. Does the state of Wisconsin do anything to as far as any kind of valuation of water frontage, or is it just based on sales?
The state, as long as information that they pass to us is more of a kind of overall number based on your major classes, and for the village of Harrison, it'd be just general commercial and then residential. They do look at sales, so if there were land or if there were like sales, they would be seeing those as well.
So for the examination of the assessment rule, what is the protocol for that? Is that what we're?
So that would be actually looking at the role book to see if there's any changes that need to be made, and then you would do an action to accept that role as the considered record.
Okay. So do we have any calculation errors or descriptions that need to be corrected or anything?
Not that I'm aware of, or you know,
No, and that's generally if the board's reviewing it,
yeah.
or to notice any.
So then the next item would be the add omitted property, eliminate double assessed property, if any. Has that been done?
None that are known.
Certify corrections of error under state statute section 70 .43.
None known.
Action to accept the role either as presented or with corrections. So I guess that would mean we need a motion and a second to accept the role.
I'll make a motion to accept the role as presented. Second that.
So we have a motion by trustee Lancaster and a second by trustee Thiel to accept the role as presented. Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Moving on, compliance review of filed assessment objection forms. If any assessment objection forms are filed, they are included in the UR packet, or for late filings, they will be disseminated within the first 2 hours of the board review meeting. That being said, we do have 2 late filings. We have Dave Beckel. Is that his name? And then we have Peter Beeble. So I will ask the board if the late filings are something that we will accept, and if so, we need to put them into the open slots that are available on the schedule. So first, we have Peter. Do we as board accept the late filing?
Procedurally, two things I just want to mention, if that's okay.
Sure.
So anyone who didn't file, before the 48 hours would have. Would have to state good cause and why they did meet the filing, so you would essentially vote on. If that good cause was met, so the property owner could kind of speak to what that good cause was, then you as a board can vote on it. The assessor would get a 48-hour allowance, to prepare a case if I saw fit, depending on how the board votes, which could have another meeting, so, we'll kind of see what happens and we'll touch base after.
So first up, we have Peter. What is your reasoning for late filing?
We were in Door County until yesterday, or the day, Monday afternoon.
And you've been communicated with Akron up to this point, from my
I
understanding.
probably missed it in the letter with the deadline.
So I will leave it to the board if this is a legitimate good cause for a late filing. If so, I will look for a motion in a second to accept the late filing, and then from there we will make a motion to file his late filing into our schedule.
Seeing the gentleman's here, I will make them, and I know there was a lot, probably of this going on, a lot of confusion maybe on some of these dates sometimes, so I will make a motion to accept the late filing.
I'll second that with the knowledge that the assessor needs $40 to.
I also will accept the late filing, so we have, let's go ahead and make a roll call vote. Those in favor of the late filing from Mr. Evil, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next up, let's go ahead and put, this gentleman in our first slot, which is 5 minutes overdue, if that would be agreeable.
Agreed.
Okay, so first up, we have to follow our protocol here. First, we need to ask the clerk to introduce the case for the hearing.
Do you want to discuss the other late filing first?
Yes. Let's do that. So we also have Mr.
It doesn't appear that he is on the Zoom call at this time.
He might be coming in at 2:30 because he was confused when he needed to come on board, so I may have to wait until 2:30ish and see if he is.
Can we, what's the proper procedure here then to hear the first one? And then give the other gentleman a little time to see if he does come on, because if he does not come on, I would be inclined to decline the late filing. But willing to, with the knowledge of the village manager, to give him a few minutes, but for us to keep moving here as well. Are we able to do that?
So what I'll say is that the gentleman, Dave platform, we will afford him his 2 hours at the start of meeting to either call in or present himself physically. So we will allow him up to 4 p.m. To make himself available via telephone or it's in person. Okay,
So
so
you want a motion to that effect then? You need a motion to that effect?
well, first, do we accept his late filing?
Well, you would have to,
You got
yes,
it.
yeah, that's why I said it's
Oh,
no.
sure, sounds good,
And statutorily, you have the 2 hours, so I think you
Oh,
need
okay.
but
sounds good,
am I know?
okay.
One thing I do want to add is, do you want me to read the oath before we get to cases, if that's our next?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm just gonna read it and then I'll find it. It's okay. So I, Lori Sacco, have been elected or appointed to the office of the assessor for the village of Harrison, swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin, and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're gonna do a brief outline of the hearing procedure, so. The person who files the objection will testify and present evidence first. The assessor may then have the property owner object your questions. After which the board of review members may ask additional questions. They have for the property owner, objector. After the party owner objector testifies, any other witnesses present in support of the property owner objector will testify. Each witness will be subject to questions from the assessor and the board of review members. After all witnesses for the property owner objector have testified, the assessor will present his approaches in support of the assessments. The property owner objector may then ask the assessor questions, followed by the board of review members. After the assessor testifies, any other witnesses present in support of the assessor will testify. Each witness will be subject to questions from the property owner objector and the board of review members. The property owner objector may respond to the assessor's testimony by presenting any other evidence, followed by additional questioning from the assessor and the board of review members. The assessor may then present any evidence in support of the assessment, again subject to questioning from the property owner objector and the board of review members. After all evidence has been submitted under oath, the property owner objector may make a brief summary of his or her case to the board of review. The assessor may follow with a brief summary of his or her own case. After each summary has been presented, the taking of testimony will be closed. The board of review will deliberate on the testimony in open session, either immediately following. So those are the board of review procedures. First up, I think we will go ahead into the next portion, which is hearing of the assessment objection. So first up, we have Peter Beagle. First, you need to be sworn in by the clerk.
Does he have a completed form?
Yes, he does.
Oh, there's two.
I'm actually gonna turn yours and yours lights off.
Now I hit public.
Yes.
Is it delegate 6? Seat 6. There you go.
Okay, you need to come and get sworn in and you'll be able to take your seat.
Okay.
Yeah.
This case is of Peter Bebo, the property owner resides at N9574 Highline Road. This property has been classified for assessment purposes as residential. The value of the assessment over the current year is $337,400. You ready to swear in?
Yes.
Your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony which you shall give in the matter now I'm hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
For the record, the value was changed, so it currently sits at 59,400 for land, 268,200 for improvement, for a total value of 327,600.
Okay. Lori, are you ready to swear in? You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony which you shall give in the matter now I'm hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. I do. Peter, can you state your name and address for the record?
Peter J. Bebo, N9574 Highline Road, Paul, Wisconsin. Village of Harris.
So the first question that I have is, do you have any evidence contrary to what your attorney's assessment is of the 327,600?
I took photographs yesterday of the 10-unit apartment complex in front of to the north of our property, and the 9-unit business suites that are just to the south of our property, but I don't know how to get them to you. That would be the only evidence I have of that, but that's my big complaint, if I can just talk. Um, we moved in, we bought this property back in 1987, lived out in the country for many, many years, really enjoyed it. The village town at that time decided to put a 10-unit, 10 building apartment complex to the north of us, very close to our property line. And then approved a 9-unit business suite property just south of us. Really close to the house. And I think that's reduced the value of all of our assessed value of our properties, not increased it. So I talked to Patty, right? Yeah, Patricia Peters, and asked her for a large reduction in the increase, and she came up with the $9,800 reduction. I mean, I went up by $127,400 in 1 year. And I understand market conditions, but that seems a little excessive, especially bearing what I look at out my front door and out my back windows. Listen to the business suites working every day right behind my house.
Do you have any other witnesses that you want to present to testify? So now I guess it's open for the board of review members or the assessor to ask questions of property owner as to his testimony.
I'll just state the objection form has to have a specific opinion of value. The one I'm looking at just says 100,000 too high. There would have to be a stated specific dollar amount for the record. Do you have a specific dollar amount?
Sure, 95,000.
25,000 in total?
Yes.
And I'll go ahead and ask, just how did you arrive at that 95,000?
Hello? Hello?
Based. It's not me.
It's the
Hello?
person.
Um,
Hold tight. Hold tight. He's muted, go ahead.
based on the desirability of having 10 apartment buildings to the north of me and 9 business suites to the south of me, if I ever want to sell a house, sell a property.
So how did you determine that market value? Just and again, I just don't want to put words in your mouth.
I understand. It was a guess.
Okay.
So according to the state manual, as far as these proceedings, we as board of review, when we make decisions, can only use actual evidence, which in this particular proceeding would most likely be a professional appraiser to have brought in a actual appraisal on your property. Has that happened?
No.
So considering that, that is by our guidelines set forth by the state of Wisconsin, by the Department of Revenue. Those are the only things that we can consider.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I can still present.
Okay.
Any other questions before?
That was my question.
Try it again.
I can turn it on.
I guess that's my question, I'd like to hear from the assessor as far as seeing there wasn't I guess I'd like to understand the adjustment that was made and then just, do you stand by this value and et cetera, et cetera.
Sure, and again, given as a walk-in, I haven't had time to review. I am looking at the note from Patty. Doesn't give too much information. So let's take a look at our sales analysis quickly here and just see I did see that his increase was essentially in line with the community average, and residential average. So on a generic level, he's not an outlier. And ranches.
So that is one of the things, correct, for individuals to to understand, I know it kind of looks like it went up this much in 1 year, but really the last
19.
the last management adjustment is really value increase since 2019 on this parcel, is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, I mean, even just, again, another metric I would look at is, sales of ranch homes within the area, and neighborhood that we have them in. Currently, the house is at about $140 a square foot. Sales within that, ranches within the neighborhood grouping that we have. The low end are 154 and the high end 361, so obviously varying attributes there, but you would be under, again, without doing full grid, about $10 on the under the lowest sale, that would have been within those comparable groupings. So and normally if I hear something that would be maybe an external piece, I would look for, again, for the state statutes, would there be market data showing that the proximity to those buildings would have a negative influence on his land or his parcel? Not as far as the timeline allowed here to have impacted that, could have been part of why Patty had potentially given an adjustment, or again, he could have, based on other factors, again, I can't speak for that conversation, I wasn't in it, would have allowed a reduction. I would say, as an assessor, 95,000, I would agree that that's an appropriate number. The land value, or the improvement value is over that, even if you took a land reduction for location. So I don't think that would be an appropriate value. But for what I see right now, it is, I would stand by the value that's currently stated.
But you haven't seen how close these buildings are to my house. And what effect it would have if I tried to sell a house. Like I said, I've got pictures, but I don't know how to show them to you guys.
Sure, and one of the things I would say, if this was an open book, I know you didn't come, to my understanding, and I'll take a look if Patty had done that, is we can always flag the property to do an on-site inspection. So maybe in lieu of those photos going forward, we could determine if there would be, again, enough information for us to be able to allow some sort of adjustment of value, for location, but it would just be your house at that point. I'm sure proximity would also include other properties. And then we'd have to not just look at that, we'd have to look at maybe proximity of other residential to commercial buildings, right? If it's a large complex like that would be commercial. So out of uniformity, if we adjust for him, I'd have to take a look at the bigger picture to see if that would also impact others. That would then allow a different reduction again, if it's location to larger businesses. In all fairness.
There's only 4 of us that live right there. And Art Garrett's on the corner of 55 at the curve just above that map there. Would be the only one affected on both north and south side of his properties.
Can I ask, the size of the lot?
My lot's about 4.5 acres.
Okay.
Actually, Art's not, but Ray and Pat Share are also about the same size.
Can you grab the 24 picture?
So where are you? Here's Highline.
I don't know why it says Premier Harrison LLC on my lot, but that's it, right next to Pat Share. No,
Right here.
right under Premier, right, our house is under Premier Harrison.
This. Here.
Go to 24. Can you go to 24 instead of 21? I wonder if that's throwing off.
Yeah. Right there's that.
Something's that map's goofy. That's because I'm trying to put north up and north to your left, or north to your right,
Are you? You don't.
right there. Christine Landerman. Yep, that's my wife. I don't know why her name's on it, mine's not.
Oh.
But you can see how close the apartment buildings are to the house. And out the back of my house, you can see the big first building closest to Ray and Brenda Smith is right out my back door.
Approximately how many feet is that?
From the property line or the house? From the property line, it's only about 50, from the house, maybe 125. That's going south out of the back door, out of the front. You can see the property lines real close to their driveways, parking areas. The buildings are about 100 feet.
Where is your driveway out? Is it out to Highline?
I have an easement through Pat's out to Highline, yeah. In perpetuity. So that's the route. That's why I didn't think the assessment should have gone up as much as it did, because I don't think my property is as saleable as it was once upon a time because of those buildings that the town hall, village law.
We're gonna follow procedure. Do you have any other evidence that you would like to?
I do not.
The assessor, Laura, do you have any other evidence?
No, there are information or something.
So
I'm
then
still staying with what you think about going on the average versus,
I didn't say I went off the average, I was stating how yours compared to the average, and
yes,
the roll's already been signed, so the assessor stands with what's printed in the roll.
I now am going to close testimony for this objection. And it'll be now time for us as the board of review to deliberate on the testimony in open session. And then to make a decision.
Motion to deny.
So I got a motion to deny the objection by trustee Lancaster.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second to deny the objection. Those in favor, I'll give you the nod. Was that
Discussion.
Oh, discussion? Go ahead.
So what I would recommend, and I see your point, unfortunately, there's state statute here that we have to follow, and an appraisal like that is a very strong piece of evidence and the guide for property owners. And so without evidence, and treating everybody fairly, that's why I made my motion to deny, because I don't have true evidence to the contrary. What I would suggest is definitely the assessor, hopefully you can flag the property for next year so that it can be an on-site visit. And through working through that and knowing more time than next year. You know, a realtor is not the same as a appraisal, but before you pay for an appraisal, I would talk to a trusted realtor to see what they think your property is worth from a market standpoint, and based on that information, you may or may not decide that to pursue it. And if you choose to pursue it, and early on in the summer next year, because board review happens every year too, and all of that, and this part, if you can't come to an agreement or something, then pursue an appraisal to have actual evidence. Because if I had evidence, and what that evidence said, that's really where.
I see.
But I think you may be surprised as well for what the value of your property is worth, to be honest. Not a realtor expert, but you'd be surprised at what some of the property, especially when someone that wants a business or wants to do different things that may be okay with things around there. You do have a nice parcel there as well. So that's why I'm saying take some of that into consideration.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, that being said, go ahead and vote. We have roll call. Yeah. Aye.
Fine.
The objection is denied. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, I guess let's go ahead and see if Dave's on the phone since he did call in, and let's get him scheduled. Is he still online?
He is on the line, but I don't know why I can't unmute him.
Dave, if you can hear me, go ahead and.
Yep,
unmute yourself.
I'm still here.
Hey, Dave.
you hear me?
Yes. So we have to first approve your late filing with this board of review. Once that has happened, then we will schedule you into the current schedule that is before us. So since I did talk to Dave, there was some confusion as to the procedure of how to proceed. I'm going to ask we make a motion in a second to accept this late filing.
I think statutorily wise, we do have to hear from the.
Yeah, go ahead, Dave, give us your
We have-
reasoning why you are
Yeah, my understanding.
filing late.
Okay, guys, am I allowed to talk? You guys are echoing a little bit, but I kind of followed. So you're okay with me just shooting off these thoughts quick?
No, we need you to give us your reasoning why you have filed late for the board review with your objection
Oh,
to your
While I
assessment.
why I filed late? Okay, initially I've been dealing with Kyle. Is it Cabe from Accurate. He and I were just going to take care of the review ourselves, and we already went through the improvement part of it. That's done. We did a great job, and I'm contesting the land value. That's all I'm contesting. As far as why I'm requesting to have this call, he canceled. This is like 3-4 weeks ago. He canceled the not the board of review, the open book. He said it's not necessary. We said we'll take care of it ourselves. Him and I were just going to do it, and the board of review. So they were both canceled. I had appointments. I believe Kim did them for me from Accurate Appraisal. That probably was 3-4 weeks ago. So yesterday, I had not heard back from Kyle on my request to review the comp issue with the land values on Lake Winnebago. I didn't hear anything. So I wanted to offer this to the board of review. I talked to Scott yesterday, or was it maybe, yeah, it was yesterday, excuse me. Dave, the deadline was Monday. Well, there's a lot of confusion about that too, because in the initial stage of this, I was told we didn't even need appointments for the board of review. For the open book we did, they told me that this was an open walk-in session from 2 o'clock till 8 in the evening, because I would have definitely made another appointment. They said, Dave, you don't need to worry. Just bring your stuff down here. Come on in. You know, we take people first come, first serve. And that's, but I found out about all this yesterday after the deadline. So I don't need a lot of time, guys. I need maybe 5-10 minutes at the most. I'm very
So
organized.
Dave, what, we appreciate your reasoning. I guess I'm gonna leave it up to the board to make a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second to accept, Dave Beckles, objection. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so next, I guess, Dave, we're gonna schedule you. We do have an open slot at 4 p.m. if you are available.
We may have it at 3 p.m. as well. I don't think the 3.
Is that?
I don't think the 3 o'clock is.
The 3 o'clock are available.
Well, the 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock would be available, but we are already behind one person, and so it might be 3:15.
We see if you can do 4. Just make sure we give, because we have 2 in the audience here, make sure we're giving them their due time if they're here.
For the record, I guess I'll wait my 48 hours and allow them to be here today.
Okay, so we have heard the assessor say that they are requesting, which is their right under state statute, to have a 40-hour.
She's waiting it. She's waiting it. So
Oh,
that's
she is?
okay.
Okay. All right, the assessor is waiving the 40-hour period, okay. So Dave, you want 3 o'clock, is that fine? 3:15, somewhere in there?
Yeah, as soon as possible, because as I had mentioned, my mother's in hospice. As soon as I'm done with this call,
Okay,
head
but
back.
I
Yep,
get
head
that,
back
but I have
till-
other people that are sitting here waiting for their, those related.
Yep, that's okay. So 3 o'clock, you're talking in 15 minutes, right, guys?
3:15.
3:15 about, because we're already behind 15 minutes, so it's gonna be more like 3:15.
Okay, do you want me to
Okay,
call
we'll
then,
talk
right?
to them in.
Call back at 3:15.
Call back. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, right. All right, next we have Daniel
Landecker.
Landecker.
So this case is of Daniel Landecker. The property owner resides at W6987 Fire Lane 3. The property has been classified for assessment purposes as residential. The value of the assessment roll for the current year, the land is 266,800. improvements of 224,600 for a total of 491,400.
So, you will be able to now present as you have to get sworn in first.
Yeah. Are you both going to be speaking?
I don't know.
Probably not, just one.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony which you shall give in the matter now on hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And just as a reminder, Lori has already been sworn in as the assessor.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead and you may present the
All right, my name is,
evidence that you have for your objection.
my name is Dan Landecker, this is my wife Paula, we live at W 6987 Fire Lane 3. Our dispute is on the property assessment of $4,600 per foot. When the business down the road is assessed at $3,046 a foot. They're within a mile of us, and we don't feel that this is fair. Fox Crossing, which is under a mile from us, are assessed at 40. At Fox Crossing, sir, people on Fox Crossing that are assessed at $2,700 a foot on the lake, which is less than a mile from us. Thurwood has assessments of $2,700 a foot and less. So my main complaint is that we are being overassessed on our property. My buildings are not an issue. Waverly Beach was assessed at 3,000 or 2,048, and we're assessed at 4,600. I want to know why. An accurate appraisal is the assessor of all three districts. I want to know why there's such a disparity in between these. They sent me a explanation of commercial property versus residential. You guys have all read it. Nobody can seem to make it heads or tails of it. So I feel that this is what do you want to call it, disproportionate or very illegal, not illegal, but a very disparate property assessment. We're being overly assessed. The residents along the fire lanes are paying more, way more, actually quadruple more than what the commercial property is. Waverly has 300 feet on their property assessment. I know for a fact they own 700 feet. So it's just way out of proportion. And we talked about this at a previous meeting, and a lot of the lake owners down by me are very concerned about it. They're kind of relying on me to answer what their situations are also. We want to know why, first of all. How can there be over double actually an assessment difference? Now, the reading I have here as well, it's based on their, let me see, we don't use pricing. If you purchase a commercial parcel, you're buying it based on the potential income you could make, not its water frontage. If they don't make a profit, do they not pay tax? I mean, this is just, you guys have all read this. This we were here last time. So it's just it makes no sense. It's illogical. The assessments are way out of proportion, and we want to know why.
Are you done then presenting your testimony?
Well, I've got a lot of things on here, but
I know, I'm just trying to follow procedure.
right.
You
You know, another thing too, that the village fire lanes 2 through 7 really don't get any services from the village. We pay for everything. So that's another thing that should be considered in our assessment, which it's not. I heard that there are assessments, the people that have assessed property over 100 feet get assessed less at that 100 feet over mark than they do at the 100 feet, the full 100 feet of frontage on the lake. This is a Sherwood thing, and I think it's probably down by 8. I don't know that for a fact. I'm just concerned with the area down by me because it's within a mile of each way from me. All the assessments are $4,600 a foot from all the residents I talked to. And Waverly's is 2,048 on 300 feet, which they own almost 700 feet. So that's my gripe, and my gripe with a lot of other residents down that area. if this isn't corrected, I guess what we would like to do is to know what our options are. Because there's a lot of residents that they're not gonna just roll over dead on this assessment. It's, as far as we're concerned, it's not a done deal. When you have that much disparity, first of all, it's just not right. Why should why should we subsidize the commercial business? And, they've been getting away with it a long time. They were assessed at $1.9 million in 2019. It hasn't changed until this year. They bought the place for $3 million in 2021 and added on $5 million in 2022. It still was assessed up to the end of this year at $1.9 million. If my neighbor builds or adds on to his house, which a couple of them had and made additions, they were reassessed the year after they added on to it. I just have a lot of questions and nobody can answer.
But my question for this procedure, you need to present any evidence. Do you have any evidence? To
Any
support
tax,
your reduction?
it's on the tax roll. It's on the tax roll. That's how I found out about it. It's on it's the open book.
Again, use the procedure aligned by state statute. We as a panel can only take actual evidence that's presented. If you have evidence to present, then we can take that into consideration.
There's Waverly's tax bill, $3,800.
We're not.
Here's my tax bill.
Assessment, we're only speeding what you have for assessment. Which
My assessment is right here,
I know.
and it's at $4,600. How can I give you any more
So
accurate assessment that are any more detailed than that?
According to the state of revenue, the evidence that we as a body can take is an actual assessment done by a professional outside of what Accurate has done. We can't take any other assessments from any other commercial properties. For you have to have evidence of an actual professional assessment, appraiser done on your property or anyone's property in order to dispute the assessment of the Accurate.
I did not have an assessor come out and assess it.
That's what I was just asking.
And nobody else did, as far as I'm concerned. I'm just strictly going off of the assessments that Accurate Appraisal sent us. That's all I'm going off of. And what I've talked to from the Sherwood up there, the people up there that are involved in property tax, and the Fox Crossing people. That's the only thing I'm going by.
Do you have that information to present to us?
I do not.
So maybe it wasn't clear as far as how these proceedings happen, because according to state statute and under guidelines by the Department of Revenue and by state statute, we are only jurists. You as a plaintiff and Accurate is being like the defendants, we have to take evidence into consideration. If we don't have evidence, we can't make a determination.
Can the assessment company explain why there is a differential of that magnitude? Why can't that be explained?
So once you are done with your presenting of facts, then the assessor will have an opportunity to retort and possibly answer your questions.
And why did they lower their building?
Well, we were sent a lower appraisal on our property, but it only lowered the value of the buildings. It did not lower the property. I don't have a dispute with building property because that's so variable. The property per square foot is the same along the whole north shore of the lake. That should not be a disputable situation. That's what it is. So how can you have a disparity of $2,700 or $2,700 versus $4,600 less than a mile away on the west end and 4 miles away on the east end?
So
That's what I'm trying to get to. I'm not necessarily disputing my building assessment. I'm disputing the property assessment, and I can't get any answers. Nobody will give me that answer.
So what I'm going to do is, in order to move on, because we have a long list. We will be here with other people till looks like close to 6:30 tonight. So if you don't have any other evidence, I guess I'm gonna say.
I don't know
The
what kind
assessor
of, I don't know what
has
kind
the
of,
Opportunity to ask questions and make her case.
I don't know what kind of evidence you require. That's all I can go is by what has been said.
Assessments is what we are told by state guidelines as.
I don't-
Evidence that we use.
You know, we went to the open book, we tried to get some answers there, we come here, we tried to get some answers here, it's just like a dead end situation.
Oh, how is open book not evidence?
Open book is just a,
It's showing
It's
what
just
they're
assessments is what they're telling us. It's just assessments. It's their word versus everybody else's word.
well. I'm gonna allow the accurate representative to go ahead and. Be able to provide her information.
Yeah, I do have the grid of which I had used to adjust the improvement for the property owner. I don't know if that makes sense to go over, given that they don't feel that or they don't feel that there's any issue with the improvement value, because traditionally land is more set and uniform, calculated within the system, and we have gone over that. We did have an opportunity to talk on the phone. You know, and I also just want to remind the board, state statute 7047, section 7, subsection A, any person who owns land that has an improvement on it can't essentially contest the value of the land. But I did hear the property owner know kind of overall aggregate, so I still would like to respond. There is a set calculation for that neighborhood of land value. There have been adjustments for things like an easement or legal rights that may expand to other property owners on the land. Otherwise, they are in uniform with other property owners. We did talk about Waverly, so I feel at this point, based on the conversation and the testimony, it's not that we haven't provided answers, it just may not be answers that are acceptable or aligned with the property owner, so it's not that we haven't answered those questions. Again, commercial and residential are valued in different ways. A commercial business, when buying, is looked at differently than when you're buying a residential home. So there are other factors that are looked into. Overall, they had an increase, Waverly, of 100% as well. They did get an increase. I did look historically at permits and adjustments with renovations and additions. And at notes of completion, there was value added at those times. It was not a market year, so any additional value was also reduced by a ratio at that time, which would be the same treatment that we would give any residential home as well. Again, if you added or renovated, we would add value and then reduce it by whatever the ratio was at that year. Because again, if it's not a market year, to set somebody else up to 100% market wouldn't be appropriate. We would want to be uniform in adjusting that. So that also appeared to have happened. The other thing we had talked about, and maybe I didn't give this example, but I generally give this example, is money put in doesn't also always equal, and most often it doesn't equal value, right? So kind of even if you're building a home, you could spend $100,000 or more prepping that land, but still not result in anything actually built, right? So especially for a business, renovating or updating doesn't necessarily generate more revenue, especially on a commercial side. Another business may take over and rip everything you just did out to make it accommodating for that new business coming in. So again, they're looked at in different ways, commercial versus residential. They did get an increase. They got an increase when there was a renovation. They got an increase with the market today. In totality, they got again a percent increase. And if we were comparing the two, they are not comparable. I wouldn't compare this residential property to a commercial property. So I do think that we have had that conversation. Seems like it's had a conversation with more than just me as well. So I can prepare or give the grid. That was where the adjustment came on the improvement to align with other comparable homes within the area with similar attributes, then adjusted in the grid. Again, which created an adjustment and is reflected in the rule, but I don't at this point see any indication of any additional change.
Can you explain the difference for the
frontage of Harrison versus Fox Crossing, and maybe it's just a matter of the timing of, because municipalities bring their stuff up to market at different times, so maybe they, I understand maybe it's something like that.
Wisconsin is a municipal by municipal state, so what's reviewed in that municipality is gonna be information on that municipality. We generally aren't gonna look to Fox Crossing generally to come up with our pricing, albeit that might be next door to one another. So again, it could be a difference of where the market's at, when the last market update was, what the ratio is at that time. The data then that was looked at within that municipality, so there are differences,
You have a right to ask questions.
That Fox Crossing estimate I gave you was this year's tax assessment from a friend of mine that lives in Fox Crossing. So that's up to date. That's a 25 assessment. So there you have a 2,700 again versus the 46. Another thing, one last thing that I want to bring up is that if you have $8 million into a building project, you assess them at less than half of that. What would a homeowner do if he had $1 million on a house? Would you assess that at $500,000? I realize the residential versus commercial thing, but this is not adding up. $8 million of commercial investment does not result in a $3.8 million assessment in my book. That's my big dispute. My second biggest dispute is the $4,600 of property tax. So assessment.
Is part of that per front for each, though, and part of that hearing right is desirability of communities and different things where people want to be in certain communities too, or different things for various reasons. So you're looking at what lakefront properties worth in the village of Harrison.
Correct.
Basically, when you have school district, and you all kinds of considerations we have to get in there, but that's where I think that's where part of the difference is here, is they're looking at
50% difference.
they're looking at what sale, because that number part of that probably came from sales, is that correct? Your frontage for what the frontage. So they're looking at sales of what lakefront property